Hello, guys. Today is 5th of December and we are back again with another challenge. And as today is Saturday, I get my upgraded setup and I'll be looking this way while explaining you. So, today we have a really easy problem with us, but it took me like 40 minutes to do this problem, although I solved this problem. But I think that I'll be solving it again as I record this video because I think that it is a better way to explain the issue, explain the problem. If I explain the code, I mean it is easy, but if I write the code while explaining it, it is better. So we have a problem which asks us, can we place the flower at that particular spot or not? So we are given an array of zeros and ones, and what we are given is a flower. uh, a flower, two flower, we are given n a number of flowers, and we can only place flower if its alternate beds are empty. So 0 represents a empty bed, 1 represents a bed which is a flower has been planted on that bed. So we need to check if we can place n number of flowers or not. So if we take this example, what we need to check is if we convert any of the zeros to 1, can this be an array where all ones are not consecutive or they are not adjacent to each other? There should be a 0 in between them. Quite simple. We can straight away go to our algorithm. Now, before we start, it is clear that we need to traverse the array from 0 to n, and not n. In this case, n is the number of flowers from 0 to flowerbed.length. And what we need to check, if there is enough space for our flowers or not. We can do it in quite a few ways. I'll be doing it in the same way. Like I'll be iterating the array and I'll be checking if I have a 0, then it's adjacent, both it's the predecessor and the uh, thing that is after that element should be 0. So before we go into that for loop and all, we should also look for some corner cases, like what if my n is equals to 0, so I don't have to insert any flowers. Can I insert flowers into the bed? Yeah, I can. So I simply need to return this. Oh, where is it gone? I need to return true here, if I can simply do that. What if my flower bed, let's just copy this. What if my flower bed isn't is a empty reference, if it's not pointing to somewhere? Then, or what if it's empty, its length is 0? What do we do then? If its length is 0 or it's not pointing to somewhere else, we can simply return false, like because it has no space in it. Cool. Again, let's think of something else. What if its length is 1? Okay, check for its length. What if it's 1 dot length equals 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 to 1? What do we do then? Okay, if its length is 1, we need to check for two things. If the only element is 1, then we can't place because it's full. If the only element is 0, so we need to check if flower bed 0 element is equals to 0, then only we can uh, put something because it's empty, so we can return a true here. Else we need to return a false. Okay, now what we need to do is start iterating. For int I don't know what is happening here. Why is it like, if I write something, yeah, now it's fine. I think something was wrong with it. From, let's start with 1 and I less than flower dot length, and I increments every time. Now what we are checking for, if that element at I is equals to 0. Now we need to do something. we need to check it if its predecessor, if the element to the left of it and to the right of it, if its left adjacent and right adjacent elements are also 0. Yeah, and let's just copy this. Yeah, because it's a big name, that's why I'm avoiding typing so much. Is equals to 0. So there, I think my number lock is not working. Yeah, now it's working fine. And there, if this condition is met, of course we can put a flower into it. So what we want to do is we want to check, we want to keep a count, and if that count, what is this count, let's say count places, count bed is 0 right now, it is an integer, and what we do here is we increment that count bed is incremented here. Now what else do we want to do is we want to change this flower bed, the element at this particular index in flower bed should be equals to 1. Otherwise I'll explain you why in a minute. It should be equal to 1 here. Let's do it with an example. If I have this array, okay, here. Now what I have is I have 4 zeros. If I start iterating, this will return false, because with this the count won't be incremented at this 0, but at this 0 it will check that its left and its right are also 0, so the count will be incremented. Again at this it will check its left and its right, and it will also increment the count. So what we need to do is, while incremented the count at this 0, we need to change it to 1, so that this and this don't flag a false positive. So we change its state from 0 to 1. Now we say that it is no longer empty, it is filled now. Now there are some particular cases here that we need to look for. Like for example, if this is the case with us, then we can clearly see that we can place one flower here, because because it does not has it does not have a left, it only has a right. But if you look here, we have no such matching conditions here, and of course we also have one bad condition, that if we are at a 0 index and we found a 0, then we'll be index out of bound for trying to access the -1th index for this. So what we need is we need another if condition, if I equals to 0, and in that if, what we can say, if again if this matches, all of the code would be same, particularly here all of the code would be same. Now what we want to do, what we want to check is only its right element and not the left element, because it does not have a left element here. So we are here, we are checking if its next element is 0 or not. It is 0, so increment the count and just make this element as 1. Done. What if we are here and we have something like this? What if we are here, and can we insert a 1 here? Of course you can. Oh, if this is the case, can we insert a 1 here? No, you cannot, because there's a there's already a issue with this. So while you are here, you want to check for these two. If they both are empty, if they both are 0, then only you can put a flower here. But that will be taken care when we are checking for this condition. But for this condition we can insert a flower here. So what we need to do is we need to check if its left element is 0 or not, and if it is, we simply need to return that 0. Yeah, so I'll write this condition again. If I equals to flower bed dot length -1, that means we are at this index. If this is true, again we simply need to paste it here. We'll be checking the right element instead of the left element now. We were checking the left element first. We were checking the right element first. Now we'll be checking the left element. I'm so sorry. We'll be checking the left element, and since it does not have a right element, we don't care about the right element, and then we'll be changing its orientation, although it's not necessary, but we can. And while we are in this for loop here, we can also add one more condition to check if count is equals to n. Whenever the count become equals to n, we simply know that we need to return a true. We can return true here, and if this does not happens in the for loop, we simply need to return a false. That was it, guys. I hope this runs perfectly. I mean, we have too many ifs and for loops, but if you check, uh, is it working? Oh, I'm so sorry, this always happens. And I try to explain some code while taking an example and I write them there. Okay, count can't be found here. And what's it? Flowerbed dot my spellings, for God's sakes. Okay, and what about, I wrote it as count pad, and here I am trying to access a variable called count which does not exist. We are incrementing count to be equal to n, and if it is equal, will be a solution would be accepted. Let's just try again. Will it? Yeah, now it's doing its job, and it's not working for this. -1 is out of the index for length 3. Okay, my, where am I accessing this? I am, I did the condition for 0. I did it for, where did I did it for 1? Yeah, I did it for this. I checked its increment and I checked its lesser value. Now at this value I checked, I can't seem to see where the issue is. At this index, why is it accessing the -1 index for my array? Because at I equals to 0, when I is equal to 0, I checked, I incremented the count. Oh, I think there is the issue. I forgot. And it should not be equal to these two values, because if I is equal to 0 here, and or I is equals to this here, then we can't use them. So if this or this is true, sorry, if this or where did I copy it from? Oh, I simply copied it and I didn't change. Oh, I pasted it here. I'm so sorry. I don't know what's gotten into me. Okay, copying this, and I'm writing or this happens. Let's put it in a array, and I don't want the not of this. So if these two are true, if it is equals to this or it is equals to this, we should not return this. I hope this symbol works, because this is my first time trying this symbol. I think it works. I don't usually use that not symbol very much. Yes, it works. My solution is accepted. Okay, and we can check for more here if our solution was correct or not.